Hi, this is Aaron Booker, and I'm talking to you today from WPC 2011. We're here in Los Angeles. I've got a fantastic group that I'm speaking with today, ranging from first-time WPC to unbelievably many-time WPC, every WPC. Okay, so it's going to be fantastic just hearing some thoughts about what were some of the key points here, and it's just going to be kind of fun, wind things down, and people are heading out. So I wanted to introduce my guests. So Frank, if you could introduce yourself and your company.
Okay, hi, my name is Frank Coker. I'm the CEO of a company called CoreConnex, and we have the Corelytics financial dashboard for IT service companies and solution providers.
And how many times have you been at WPC?
One.
Fantastic. Arlen?
Arlen Sorensen, CEO and founder of Heartland Technology Solutions and the HTG Peer Groups. I come from the Midwest, and I have been here since 2000, I believe, was the first year I went to WPC.
So my name is Aaron Booker, and I am here from Bellingham, Washington. Varvid is the name of my business. Been a solution provider since, let's see here, 2001, but sold my practice a year ago to stay focused on video, but coming to WPC since Denver was my first one. So how many years is that now? Six?
This will be your
Fifth. So this is 5 years now. So Dean?
Hi, I'm Dean Perrone. I'm the product unit manager for Windows Multipoint Server at Microsoft. I've spent a long time in the Windows Server space and a lot of projects from Small Business Server to Windows Server Foundation. I think I've been to every WPC since 2003, which was New Orleans.
Okay.
So my name is Tiffany Ingerjolia, and I am the Director of Partner Alliances for New Horizons Computer Learning Center in 10 states, 14 centers, so the central U.S. for the most part. And this is, I live in New Orleans, so it was great to have and host WPC there. And Denver was my first conference as well, so this is my 5th WPC.
All right. Standing, so we got a nice range of folks here at WPC. I think I'm going to pick on you, Frank. So as your first WPC, what did you see that was interesting to you? You attend a lot of trade shows, but as your first WPC, what was different about WPC than some of the other events that you've seen?
Well, one obvious thing is this is all Microsoft centric, right? It's all about Microsoft partners and kind of the magic ingredients of hooking partners together and helping them understand how to sell better and take advantage of the Microsoft suite. And one thing that I thought was really powerful was how Microsoft very consistently beat the drum about what is important, and it was clear. It was really nice, and I think everybody responded phenomenally well. And you can see an energy going on here that's I think very enthusiastic about what the whole Microsoft message and direction is.
What do you see as that message, or what do you think was a key point that they brought out?
Inescapably, the cloud is like a destination, right? Mm-hmm. It's no longer a waypoint. It's like the place to go, and then kind of all of the other pieces that kind of fit around that. The commitment to kind of all the different form factors and trying to make the handhelds and everything else all a legitimate piece of the big picture.
It's almost like all the tools that plug into it. So last year was messaging was the cloud, right? But this year it was like, okay, this is Lync, this is Bing, these are now where all of our products plug into the cloud. It's not just about the hosting, it's all of the products and where they're fitting in.
Exactly. And I got to share with you, we're brand new to Azure. We just recently made the cutover, moved our whole financial dashboard to that environment, and it's interesting to hear kind of the statements of promise around what is the actuality, and the good news is they line up. We were really happy with that. So it's been a really good experience for us, so a lot of truth in there.
Now, Arlen, you've been doing this a very long time. You've seen a lot of events. What are some of the secrets that you've learned for attending WPC a success?
Well, I think you just called me old, first of all.
Excuse me.
The reality is it's all about planning and preparation. There are so many things to do at this event that if you don't come with a schedule prepared ahead of time, you get jerked around trying to get to this and that and the other thing without knowing what you're going to accomplish. So I've learned to get all my pre-planning done and have my schedule basically set before I even get on the airplane. And sure, there's always tweaks and changes and more parties to go to, but at least I've got the core things that I want to get accomplished on my agenda and the people I want to connect with. So I heavily use the WPC Connect tool to make appointments with folks and just really have that schedule nailed down.
And you really center it on the people. So you're making appointments and really filling your day up with people, not learning about products and technologies as much as the people.
Yeah, I mean, in my role today, you know, they don't even let me touch products, so there's not much point. I will confess I didn't go to any breakout sessions for the last few years. I spend all my time from 11:30 till 6 p.m. in the Connect Center, meeting with folks, making new relationships, renewing old ones, and finding new partners that we can work with. But for my role, that's what it's about. You can't go anywhere else in the country to an event where you get the access to the number of different people that you can at WPC.
Yeah, I really see that the ability to sit down and talk with high-level people. I mean, many partners don't attend industry events, and I think it's such a mistake. I mean, I've gotten to know Dean over these last few years, and WPC was the first time, and it's like, wow, this guy's really interesting, and I wouldn't have happened if I didn't otherwise go. You know, you just get to know that when you get to know the product manager later down the road, you're having a problem, you have an email address, you know, things can happen really fast. There is no phone queue and callback, so you just get resolution.
I'm with Arlen. I mean, for me, this show is as much about the people as it is about the technology, probably more about the people. You know, I spend all day out on the booth floor trying to make connections with individuals and, you know, showing off the various Microsoft products. And then I fill all my evenings having dinners with folks that I get a chance to connect with only a couple times a year. I mean, I think you said it really well, right? Building new relationships and renewing old ones.
And what's really great about you guys is you have such an excellent, consistently excellent product suite to offer partners that you don't really have to worry about the technology. You can focus on the relationships.
You know, that might be true, but one of the good things I get out of these shows is when partners and customers come up to us and they tell us, you know, hey, you got this 95% correct. Here's the part that you sort of need to improve. And, you know, we take those suggestions back on my team, and we really do work hard to try to implement them. Yeah,
but if you don't come, if you don't attend WPC, that kind of feedback won't happen.
You know, I'll give an example. We have, you know, I'm working down in the server and cloud booth area, and we've got SQL Server there, we've got Windows Server, we've got Azure, we've got HPC, we've got Multipoint, we've got Small Business Server. All those booths are all staffed by the engineers that actually work on and build the products. So it's a really great opportunity not only for you know, us to talk to customers, but for customers to get a chance to like really reach deep into the organization in places they wouldn't really have an opportunity to.
You know, that actually brings up an interesting point. Did you come by yourself to WPC, or how do you do that? I'll start with Arlen.
No, I came with 2 other people from my organization. You know, you can't bring enough people to fully cover this event, but I do always bring at least 2 other folks with me because, you know, I do need somebody in the sessions hearing the technical things and interfacing with the product folks, and I need people in the business sessions that are pulling that value back as well. So it's not that I don't go to sessions because there's no value. There's lots of value. It's just not where my role fits today. So I bring people in those appropriate roles to go there.
Yeah, I've certainly seen the value of that in our organization too. Having more bodies means more relationships happen, more kinds of cool things that you learn about, and that's really, you know, what helps you expand. Now you're here, you're involved with IMCP, so you've kind of got your tentacles in many things as well as New Horizons. I mean, you do a lot. What sorts of things are you doing here? It seems like you're a full plate.
It's like the Kevin Bacon 7 degrees separation kind of thing. So Arlen and I both serve on the Partner Executive Board for WPC. So the PEB pretty much meets, there's 22 of us from an international standpoint. I think there's 5 or 6 Americans. Yep. So it's a really nice mix of individuals and partner types from competency levels that plan WPC. And so we work with the team and we meet once a month. We have conference calls once a month, and we meet in the fall for kind of a debrief of this year's conference, and we'll meet in the spring for a planning meeting and then go to the actual destination city of the conference. So this is one of the interesting things about planning WPC is that every one of us has very interesting beliefs. Like I'm not a huge keynote attender, and I don't ever hide from that fact, as in Arlen saying that he doesn't attend sessions. for his values in the Connect meetings. So we really are very honest when we're in that room, because that's what it means to all the partners, right? So that's why you've seen the Connect session really grow and those tables and the demand grow, because the voice is, hey, if I had to meet somebody by a Coke machine last year because there wasn't enough Connect tables, that's why. And so that's my role with WPC. This year, well, I'm the communications chair for IMCP Global. So, and this year I chaired WPC. So we had about 17 different unique things we were involved in, whether it was introducing one of the business and leadership track presenters, the Women in Technology Luncheon. We had a welcome reception on Monday night, a golf tournament on Sunday. This by far has been, from an IMCP standpoint, we believe our most successful year. And that is because we've done so many white papers this year, so many studies that really show that we can actually show the value of partnering and what it's bringing back to our clients, so to our partners. So they're really starting to shy away from that whole, if you're partnering with your competition, you're going to lose business. They're actually seeing the value.
That brings up an actually very interesting point. I mean, all of us are involved with relationship peers in different ways, but Frank, you actually do some of those numbers. You see the financials. What are you seeing with partners or VARs that do partner?
IMCP, we just did a little mini research project and just put out a paper about some of the economic benefits of partnering.
Okay.
And so we researched this small sampling of companies, but the economic information was pretty astonishing. For every dollar spent in partner costs, there was somewhere between $2 and $8 of revenue being generated.
So you're talking about like the cost of attending a WPC, or you're talking about the cost of being in a partnering organization?
More like the cost of contracting, underwriting those relationships.
Yep.
There's a whole myriad of costs involved in that process.
Yep.
And to think, by the way, that you just do it by a conversation, that would not be the right way to look at it.
Right.
It's got to be business. It's got to be
Right.
legitimate business. And so there's a cost, but the dollar spent generates $2 to $8. And whereas in the typical IT service company, a dollar spent on people generates $1.80 to maybe $2.50 per dollar spent on payroll.
Well, I think that more and more you see, there's no question that the client looks at you as a trusted advisor.
Yes.
Instead of you just going in there saying, oh, I can handle it all, I have it, and it'll get done. It'll get done, you don't worry, we'll get it done. Instead, you say, this is the alliance I have with this partner that does this competency, and we're going to bring them to the table so we can meet your needs in a customized solution. And they're so much more at ease that they know they're getting experts in each piece of what they're trying to accomplish.
That's really true. But then as the trusted partner or the trusted solution provider, you really are that, and you can be the full service conduit. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty exciting stuff.
Now, what's interesting about what you guys are talking about is then, well, how do you build a structure to make that happen, Arlen? How do you build a structure so that people, start to really partner together?
Well, you have to connect the dots through relationships. And so, I know IAMCP and HTG and other communities have opportunities for people to get to know one another. You don't typically partner with folks you don't know and trust. So you have to build those relationships and put those tools in place to make it a business transaction. But it all comes down to relationship. It comes down to people again. And this is a value of WPC. You can meet with folks that are complementary in the Connect area or at the bar or whatever, and begin those relationships right here.
And I know that you've got a couple of events that I can think of right off the top of my head that you've been instrumental in putting together. So could you tell us a little bit about the Partners in Christ breakfast, and then also about the HTG dinner?
So yeah, each year, this was our fourth year to have our Partners in Christ breakfast. It's a very low-key Wednesday morning event we have early in the morning. Actually, each day we start with devotions that partners can come to kind of set the stage for the day and get everybody grounded on the right foot. But on Wednesday we had a speaker come in, and there were 42 folks that were there at 7 in the morning to just kind of get some grounding and get things going for the week. And that's a great place to build relationships again and spend some time together. We also host a dinner each year. Last night we had about 60 folks together, and again, opportunities to connect, and that's the value of this week from my perspective, is whether you're sitting in a session or at a keynote or where you're surrounded by partners that all have the same interest, and that's to make money, which Frank can help us identify and track and know that it's happening, and so that's why people come.
Well, and what I like about the events that you do is that it's not just partners, it's vendors, it's ISVs, it's just a nice broad group of people that help the entire partner ecosystem. And so all these relationships are happening together because, you know, people change positions, they do new things, but the relationships stay.
That's been a change in the industry. You know, 10 years ago it was all about products, and now it's about solutions, but it's about more than that. It's about an ecosystem. I mean, it takes a small village to serve even a small business customer today. Things have gotten a lot more complex, and they need more things, and we just can't provide that as an individual company anymore. We have to partner with folks. We have to work with our vendors more closely. It takes an ecosystem to serve them, and Microsoft's been very, very good at seeing that, creating this kind of an environment to make it happen.
Well, we're just looking at the time a little bit here. I think we've come up with some really good things to think about. So as we prepare for future events, it's really about preparation. It's about making sure that you've really got your ducks in a row and making sure that you're at the right event. This event is the biggest event in the IT space that there is, and for our relationships that we have, there's just no way to better drive the deep level of integration.
What's everybody thinking about Toronto?
Right.
Is that where the next venue is?
Yes.
Yeah, as announced yesterday.
So what did we have? 15,600? I heard different variations.
It was right over 15,000, I believe.
Yeah.
Over 13,000 partners, and then I believe with Microsoft it was over 15,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, it really is interesting to be at a place with 16,000 of your closest friends, right? And they're close because when you get that many people, it's
And how many countries?
squeeze.
30?
120.
120.
Watching that flag ceremony was something else in that keynote. It's incredible.
You know,
that was awesome.
what I would say, Aaron, is sometimes people come to an event like this and then they kind of forget about the people they connected with at the event until next year.
Good point.
You really need to work those connections throughout the year. Stay in touch, send an email.
LinkedIn, I mean,
yeah,
tools.
use the tools.
LinkedIn, use
Yeah.
LinkedIn, use
Um,
and I think we're going to see some phenomenal, we've had the opportunity to look at some of the changes they're going to make to the partner portal site. So I think partners will be excited about those changes, that you'll see a little bit more uniqueness about partners that you've connected with, actually having a little bit more of a relationship on that site, like Pinpoint. So those are some good tools for us as well, but I agree. You can't just let this be the one event that you attend and then you don't see them till next year.
Right. We've got to spread that connection throughout the year and continue to grow it. So when you get together next time, you've got a place to start from.
Exactly.
What do you see? I mean, from your side of the point, you've been coming always from the Microsoft standpoint. You've done, I'm sure, many different roles over the years as your positions have changed. What do you see? What do you advise both Microsoft staff as well as partners? How do you think is the best way to approach this?
Yeah, you know, there's a couple interesting things kind of came up what other folks have said here. You know, there's an interesting thing here. Even as a Microsoft employee, folks may not realize this. Microsoft employees pay attendance fees to come to these events.
Wow.
You know, so I brought myself, and we have 4 or 5 of my team members here, and you know, this comes out of our budget. And so the Microsoft teams that really choose to represent themselves here really care deeply about these relationships that they build. I mean, it's something that we directly sort of see as part of our bottom line to come here. And so everybody that's back in the Windows booths and the Microsoft booths here is here with reason, with purpose, I guess I would say. So, you know, a couple pieces of advice. I'd say for Microsoft staffers, drink a lot of water. Go home after the parties are over. And sit down whenever you can. For folks that are here coming to Microsoft and coming to talk to us, don't be afraid to ask for a business card. Don't be afraid to make a relationship. Don't be afraid to reach out after the show is over and email somebody at Microsoft. You know, you and I met that way.
Yep.
For all the products I've ever worked on, that's how we find early adopter customers. That's how we find MVPs. That's how we find, you know, I can't express how much excitement we have when we meet somebody here at a show like this that has implemented and deployed a solution. You know, I was at Arlen, I had the pleasure of going to Arlen's partner dinner last night, and I met one of the HTG partners that I hadn't met previously, and he told me about a 40-seat deployment of multi-point he had done in his school system. And you know, stuff like that just, it lights us up. You know, I took his business card, we're going to follow up after the show, I'm going to see if we can go out there and do a site visit, and that's why I come to shows like this, right? It's to build those relationships. Arlen and I have known each other since 1999, I think we went back and kind of looked at it, and the relationship that Microsoft has with its partners, to me, is one of the most cherished things that we have. So,
wow, that is really a beautiful way of summing it up, because that's why Microsoft does this. I mean, it's a huge expense. It's a huge commitment to its partner community. No other company does it as well, that builds these downstream relationships and keeps the channel as a key part of the way it delivers. I mean, many companies, we'll go direct. We don't need partners. There's many companies out there that do that.
I work on server products, and we're trying to land server products into places where they don't have dedicated IT staff, schools, small businesses, you know, products like Home Server going into the home. Right. Those products go through partners. I mean, they really, really do, you know. I joke that the more, you know, you talked about the multiplying effect of spending $1 and how that comes off. I think that when it comes to server products, particularly in those, what Microsoft would define as the lower end segments, the things not quite the enterprise level.
Right.
I think every dollar that you spend investing in partner related features has an enormous payback, right? You know, if I can light up partners, and partners are broad, they're channel partners, they're ISVs, they're OEMs, and I get to meet with all of them here at the WPC. The way I really like to think about it is, the more I can do to enable those channels, I mean, it just has a huge multiplying effect on our ability.
Yeah. I mean, I know, you know, it was funny, the other day I was talking to somebody and it's like, well, what's the one thing that you wish you had out of Small Business Server? You know, better reporting, right? And API so that it can report through my RMM tool. And, you know, those are the kinds of things that get partners to sell a lot more product.
It's one of the things I get a lot of feedback on here at the show in particular. Remember when Monitor used to have that one feature and you guys took it out? It's like, yes, I remember. You know? But like, those are the conversations that partners should want to have with engineers here at the show, right? Because you're just talking directly to the individuals that write the code in many cases.
The functionality of why you need why you need those features.
Yeah.
Do you remember SBS 4.0?
I do remember SBS 4.0.
You should forget that one.
I was so afraid of what I saw in that product that I completely dismissed SBS until 2003. It was actually about 2005 when I learned what a great product 2003 was.
You know, I mean, SBS really found its way and its home in SBS 2000 and 2003, and it was because we chose to go and embrace that partner ecosystem.
Yeah, that's right.
And really change the way we thought about how to build the product.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, I do have to make a plug for actually the end of the food chain, the customer.
Of course.
And let me tell you, the customer needs partners. It's a compliment to the point you're making. They need the partners that are able to deliver and consult and advise and actually do the technology piece of this. There is so much stuff out there, and most small companies are struggling. You know, nobody needs to remind others about the economic straitjacket we're in right now, and it's difficult. And by leveraging outsourced services, it makes all the difference in the world. So there is a ripple effect benefit going on here that we
in the
probably
greater
should
economy
acknowledge
as well. So that, I mean, that's where the hiring is coming from small businesses, and as they become more efficient, they can deliver better services. They can out-innovate those larger companies.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, one of the main tent themes that kept coming up over and over again is, you know, all about we can change the world, and you know that's a little bit euphemistic, a little bit large, but you know, in many huge ways, it is absolutely true.
Absolutely.
And it's happening.
Yeah. It's fun to be a part of it. Well, I wanted to wind things down and just hear a little bit from each person on you know, what's the one thing that you're going to take away from this WPC and do in the coming year. So start with you, Tiffany.
The one thing I will take away from WPC to do in the coming year, I think that there's a better opportunity for our organization to plug directly into some of the product groups to give a better sense of why we might not be doing early adoption of training on some of those products. for customers more so than partners, because there's partner training but not necessarily training for our clients yet. So the clients are getting the products, but we can't offer them training. And we are such a large scale organization with 300 locations globally, we really need to have a solution that can be implemented globally, not just one-off for customization. I mean, we do that, but so that would be probably my biggest opportunity, would be to really start to try and plug in a little bit more with some of the products we're not training on, like touch. All right.
All the points, pretty awesome.
Thank you. My biggest takeaway, so, I've spent probably through the 4 days of the show something like 6 or 7 hours each day on the floor talking directly to customers. Done the evening events. I'm doing a special feedback session after we're done filming this. I'm going to spend the next year trying to work with the various product teams at Microsoft to implement all the suggestions that we heard. That's the biggest thing for me.
Thank you.
Here's a list.
I have lists. I do.
bet
I have
you
lists
do.
by product. I have lists
bet
of
you
things that
do.
we need to go and look at. Yeah.
Good work. Frank?
Well, needless to say, this is kind of like discovery time, as this is our first WPC experience. But I'm getting a much better feel for the 680,000 partners that are in the Microsoft Partner Network, and I am seeing ways that we can provide value to that group with financial dashboard and making visibility on the numbers and what does it really mean, the interpretation side. So I'm just real thrilled about what that synergy might look like.
Absolutely. Arlen?
This WPC seems a little different to me than a lot, in that there wasn't a long list of new releases and new products and stuff like that coming at us. Office 365 obviously is new, but it's had a different feel from that perspective. And the thing that I'm really coming away from this one is that it's about our ability to change to the environment and the customer's demands in the environment. When we heard Sir Richard talking about the entrepreneurial spirit in small business, and I had several executive conversations about Microsoft's had to make some changes that we really didn't want to do either, because partners are always not liking change. It's a universal thing that whether you're a big multi-billion-dollar organization or a partner, change is not fun for any of us, but we all have to do it. And that's kind of the theme that I'm leaving with, is that we have to go home and figure out what's next, and we have to adapt and get there. And thinking that we can just do what we did last week isn't going to work. So it's really a mindset thing for me to go home and think differently.
Well, I just know that I come away from this every year energized. I get to meet new great people. I get to re-engage with good friends I know and find new ways to work with them in the future. It's just great being here. So much opportunity in the channel, and we're excited to help them with marketing. But I do have to just end with a great line from Sir Richard, which is, screw it, let's do it. Let's move forward. All right, so let's go ahead and say goodbye, and thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
See you next year.